Okay. Once it had been revealed who you really were or who you had been,
Yes.
what were the long-range plans? How were you going to be used?
Well, used sounds like I was being used.
Well, how was this fact going to be exploited? Put it that way.
At some point in time, when I got up to the level of awareness that they felt I needed to be at in order to confront this heavy charged area of the bank, I would come forth and show the world exactly what had happened in that particular incident. And it would be, at some point, in other words, plans were made by management to invalidate and strip, actually the word is to strip the false data from the Christian churches worldwide, planet-wide.
When would you be ready to have this happen?
As soon as I in other words, as soon as I accumulated $500,000 to go up to the top of the bridge, do my L's by a flag trained by a class 12, and go on the ship, do Truth Revealed OT8 and OT9, which is now available. Did you know OT9?
OT9's out?
OT9, you know. Well, I got a letter the other day saying that they're about to release OT9. You know, I don't think it's really out yet. But when I would get to that point, then I would be able to operate without, I would be operating as a full OT. The OT8 is the first full OT level. Up to OT7 are the pre-OT levels. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In order to handle anything of this magnitude, in other words, there is nothing of comparable magnitude out there that could be handled by a person stuck in a messed body. The way that I was told how this would be handled by Don Schwartz, I think his name is Don, his last name is Schwartz, the fellow from the Flag World Tour who talked to me about it. He's a tall guy, about 6'5", you know. His last name is Schwartz, and I know what he looks like. I have a Vizio of him now. But he said to me that this has to be handled when you are fully rehabilitated as a Thetan, because this is heavy-duty stuff. And you can't take on half the world, which is basically the Christian world, without taking on your bank first. Follow?
Yes.
But when you are at that point, look what a boom this would be for Scientology, because after all, when half the world realizes that their efforts have been misdirected towards faith in false data in Jesus Christ, where else, is what he said to me, where else have they got to go but to come to us? Do you realize what an FSM you're going to be?
What's FSM?
Field staff member disseminating. What an FSM you'll be taking on half the planet. That was my mission.
So is it fair to say you would have made a major contribution to helping Ron clear the planet?
I would have cleared half the planet. Half the planet is Christian. Once I stripped away the false data of Jesus Christ on this beautiful machine, and it's provable because the data is there, then I was going to be the one to clear half the planet.
But in order to do that, you first needed to get $500,000 together.
I had to be trained not by the org, processed. I had to be processed not by the org where there are class 4s. You know, an org is a class 4 org, a local org. I had to be processed by class 12s at Flag. I was CS'd. That means the case supervisor found that there is no other way to get me fully hatted on my purpose in life than to get me trained by the best case-cracking 12s they have at Flag.
Who was the CS who found that?
It's Captain Mark Yeager at Flag, Captain Mark Yeager. is the one who well, there was a big briefing at Flag when I went there, and all the big execs were there.
Was this a big brief just for you?
Yeah, just for me.
How many people were at this briefing?
4 or 5.
Do you remember who they were?
Miscavige. There's a fellow by the name of Miscavige.
David Miscavige?
David Miscavige.
Who else?
And Captain Mark Yeager and why?
Who
And
else?
Schwartz, this fellow Schwartz. And hold on, there's and there was a guy from OSA there.
Did all of these people know how you were accumulating the money?
Oh yeah, yeah. They obviously. I mean, the point is, they said to me, "You've got to keep these stats going. You've got to keep these up stats going."
The up stats meant the money
the cases,
you were accumulating.
Doing that's never. When you have an up stat, you repeat the condition. You don't go into a lower condition by violating the conditions chart. Right there, there's a conditions chart. You got to read that. You know it.
I know it.
But when you're in power, when you've gone from screaming affluence to power, and the flows are coming in, and the money's coming in, and the thing is building, don't violate the power formula, because as soon as you do that, you're finished. Power change isn't even valid at that point. You are in power.
But in this meeting, this briefing that was held for you at Flag,
Right.
At which David Miscavige was present,
Right.
there was discussion of the way in which you were accumulating money. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
They said to me, continue these cases. You continue working these cases. And in fact, don't, in other words, in fact, I forget whether it was Miscavige or the guy from OSA. The guy from OSA was the one who said, just as Flag auditing has to be flubless, your handling of this hat has to be flubless. There can be no more Q&A with you know, this was after I got divorced. There could be no more Q&A like with the ex-wife. There could be no Q&A with Mest. You have a hat, you wear it. You're doing this not only for Ron and for us, but to clear. You're going to be the one to clear half the planet. It's you, because not only have you got the ability to actually provide the wherewithal to fund the project as an FP, financial planner, but you are in other words, I was wearing all the hats. I was actually the reason why the tech was being done, so that when the funds were in, it would be me doing. In other words, instead of having 10 or 20 different people wearing different hats, I'm wearing a lot of hats, because it's going to be me who's going to come forward and prove to the world that I was the father of Jesus Christ. You realize what a big responsibility that is? You realize what an important thetan I am? Because here, who else could do it? He only had one father, one biological father. He didn't have 20 fathers. In fact, they said that to me. They said, if he had 20 fathers, we could have a choice of who we can use. But you're the guy. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So when all of this thing blew up on 31 July, I decided I still have to do this. I have to do this anyway. Why do you think I put all of this together so quickly? Because the most important thing in my life is to clear the planet. And you can't clear the planet unless you strip away the false data about Christianity. Then after people realize that Jesus Christ was my son, where are they going to go but to Scientology? When they know from the Holy Book of Life that past lives are valid, that all of the processes I talk about in here, they can trace back to Scientology. Scientology is going to pick it up. They're going to pick it up, and they're going to clear the planet. And even if I'm PTS, or even if I'm an SP, Ron is going to know I'm the one who did it. Do you see how important my mission is even now?
Certainly. Yeah.
No matter what happens with all this crap with the case and with the government and with Kemp, I'm going to clear the planet anyway.